Good day everyone. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos such as these. AskReddit. What is your guess? I can't go into that store ever again story. Not a store, but a public library. We're at the counter, and the librarian is scanning the books we've selected. She was generously sized. My little brother, 4 or 5 at the time, tugs my mom down to whisper something in her ear. He was rather new to the concept of whispering. He put his hand up to shield his lips from the librarian. Despite all this, he says about the librarian at standard speaking volume. "Hey mom, you ever notice how fat that lady is?" Mom tried to play it off by saying something akin to "he thinks it's okay to say it to others cause he says it to me. But my mom's not fat." It did not work. We used to go there every day when my mom didn't want to have to hire a babysitter to watch us during the summer. She'd bring us to her office and let us walk across the street to the public library to play games on their Windows Vista PCs or just read books. She'd always come to pick us up when she was done with work. She started looking for babysitters soon after. I did something similar when I was 5 or 6. Still embarrassed about it. My dad and I were walking into Walmart and a very fat lady rolled past us on one of those motorized carts. I yelled to my dad, "Look dad, a fat person. She's fat." I'm sure my dad was dying of embarrassment. Back when I was getting married I was sick as a dog and my soon-to-be bride insisted we go shopping for the wedding invites. Went into this pretty higher-end shop and really felt ill, and not just at the prices. Asked one of the workers if they had a restroom I could use. Long story short, took a massive smelly diarrhea dump, clogged the toilet, and they had no plunger to fix it with. Even though I only flushed once the toilet kept running and it started to overflow. Rushed out, closed the door, grabbed my bride by the arm and just said, "We gotta go." I read so many stories of people taking massive diarrhea dumps in public toilets. Each time I can't help but think about the poor souls who do the cleaning later on. How do they fix it? I work in a bar. First you hope it is the opposite gender that you are. Then you use the "I can't go in the girls/boys bathroom." This sometimes works. Usually the lowest ranking person just has to spend 30 minutes or so with someone else's poop. While at the till at the convenience store paying for my lunch, the girl behind the counter asked if I wanted to go for a drink. Being married I made my apologies hastily, pointing to the ring on my fingers, to which she replied that my lunch was a meal deal and would be cheaper with a drink. She never used the phrase "go for" again. Part of me feels like that was her cover. I'd have kept going in and jokingly tried to flirt with her. Time I frit up by accidentally asking my customer on a date and now they won't leave me alone. Do barbershops count? Decided to get a haircut whilst having a cold. Sneezed and farted at the same time. Never went back. Oh god, I finally have a reason to share this story. One of the first jobs I had, I approached my boss in his office to discuss a report. As I was standing near him, he was sitting in his chair reading the file on his desk. I felt a sneeze come on. Knowing that I didn't have time to grab a tissue, I just turned away from him. However, the sneeze held off, but the gas in my stomach did not. I crop dusted the poor man. Embarrassed, I whipped my body back around to face him, and the centripetal force of my motion must have knocked my sinuses loose. I sneezed upon completing the spin, but was in too much shock to cover my face. I gave my boss both an aura of noxious odor and mucus spewed across his face. Ah, the old snot. It happens to the best of us. The old stinky breeze/snotty sneeze. Well played. This is a fond memory. Moved downtown to our university area. Got myself a sweet deal on a cheap, ghetto as frick studio. The kind that get rented out to poor students next to the area homeless shelter. In 2006, rent is only $300 a month, and I'm not in school. Too busy being punk rock and making just enough for a roof and partying. True paradise. One weekend, I go to a show, get completely shithoused, and stumble back up the hill to either get more fricked up or pass out at home. I decide to stop at the 7-Eleven directly across from my building. Yeah, no. Snacks. I grab everything my impulses and lack of inhibition tells me to, and I'm about to pay for this garbage and be on my way. set my things on the counter and politely introduce myself to the cashier as she is ringing up my last couple things without any kind of warning or rumbling beforehand. I'm an excruciating pain right in my gut. A split second flashes by. I clutch and clench my legs together. I gasped bathroom to her. It was too late 5 seconds ago. I try to take a step and bam. My bowels unleash with not only an ungodly sound from my ass, but a simultaneous yelp, as if I were a chihuahua that had just been stomped on. I swear I have never been so suddenly sober without a cop being involved. I have shorts on. I look down, and just liquid shit down the back of my leg, into my boots, and starting to puddle on the floor. I just ran. No change. No snacks. No words. I lived at that spot for almost 2 years. Never went back, and never even walked across their lot to get anywhere. I would walk the same way around that place, to avoid it every day. I feel terrible. She probably tells that story to this day, so this dude just shits himself right in front of me and runs away without saying a word. Don't feel bad, dude. Shit happens. Asked the waiter why they didn't serve sushi. Came home to find it was a Chinese restaurant. In my defense, I was a teenager. You better believe they talked mad shit about you in Chinese while you can hear them the entire night. When I was a kid, my family went to a pizzeria, and before the food came I went to inspect the plumbing. They had those sinks where you press down on the knob and the water would flow, with the knob slowly raising back up before it would turn off after 20 seconds. I used my fist and hit the top of the knob and the thing just popped off, and a huge geyser of water was erupting non-stop. Me and another kid were in there. We looked at each other and just bolted from the bathroom. I got back to my seat and just sat there silent. Then my mom went to use the bathroom, and when she came back she told us this story of how there was a pool in the bathroom hallway and the manager and an employee were in the men's room slipping and sliding trying to shoot off the water. My whole family was laughing at the story, but I just sat there silent. They asked me what's wrong, and I told them it was me that did it. They never fail to mention it every time we drive past a pizzeria, even now 20 years later. I've never stepped foot in one since then. Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, inspecting the plumbing was a joke my family made when I'd go to pee at a restaurant. I'd usually be a glutton about free drink refills and would always have to get up and pee mid-meal, so my family always joked I was obligated to inspect the plumbing at every establishment. Dramatic silence. Can't you see, mother? It was me. I did it. It was my fault. How do you expect me to live with that? Yup, the waitress even told us what was happening as well, and my family all looked at me holding in laughter while she did. Sounds like you have some cool ass folks, friend. Or parents that don't want to get stuck with the plumbing bill. My girlfriend fist bumped the clerk when he was actually reaching to grab a paper we had just signed. Anyway, we don't go to that tire kingdom anymore. I fist bumped a cashier at a grocery store a couple days ago. He was just handing me my change. Never buying groceries again. It brings up dark memories. That just means keep the change. You're their new favorite customer, and they miss you. Correction, you filthy animal. I sat on a Target shelf and the entire row of shelves crashed down onto the ground. They are made in China metal, a uniquely pliable substance that fails when things like objects, or air, or photons, or eyesight are laid upon it. They are made in China metal. Call it by its proper name, Chinesium. Also, by the act of looking up the correct spelling, today I learned there is in fact a /r/Chinesium community here on Reddit. There truly is a subreddit for everything.